Okay, folks, thanks for joining us again on A Family Through Service, a V2VG podcast. Close enough.
Yeah, no, you nailed it.
It's later in the day today. Matter of fact, it's past our closing time.
6:45. Yeah.
Yeah, past our closing time. Today is August 26th, 2021, and for those of you watching this in the future, you may or may not know, it's a day that it's a week-long clusterfuck in Afghanistan as we evacuate the embassy there, and the whole thing is a mess. And the Taliban there is giving us ultimatums, and they're making it risky. They're setting up checkpoints, and they're doing everything. Well, just recently, there was a couple of explosions claimed by ISIS. Matter of fact, you were listening to a podcast, right?
Yes. Yeah, and I won't mention name because of our political neutrality. But I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about an airing that was happening, and apparently the explosions had pretty much cut everybody off from the real world, which we are used to because it happened often in Iraq with mortars and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But for the average American who has been watching this unfold over the last 4 days, this is something most of them have never witnessed before.
Yeah, and these were big explosions. They were deadly explosions, and as of right now, there are 15 wounded in action. 15 Marines wounded in action, and 11 of them have been killed in action, and one Navy corpsman has been killed in action by the explosions and small arms fire and things of that nature, by the attack. This is all during what's supposedly an historic, well orchestrated airlift out of Afghanistan and everything, and it's none of those things. The media spin is just different. It's just not honest to what the boots on the ground are reporting. It's just not.
Yeah.
And if anybody had any doubt, look what happened today.
And it's really sad because this is an attack that this is something that I don't think we've ever seen before, where Taliban and ISIS are reportedly working together, which most Americans thought ISIS was all but dead and extinct, and Taliban was down to only 75,000 or so, members or whatever.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And scattered members at that.
But they took over the 3 largest cities in less than 3 days.
Including the airport.
The entire country in a couple of weeks?
It's ridiculous because they knew what was happening. And here's the thing. We can't get into the political aspect of it because of our organization's neutrality. However, there are people on both sides saying, well, Trump orchestrated the drawdown in Afghanistan and President Biden is just, fulfilling it. It's not... This is my perspective of it, all right?
Yeah.
It's not about... To me, it's not about fulfilling the mission, which is the withdrawal of U.S. forces. It's about the execution, all right? It's about doing executing the mission properly, appropriately, and with the right amount of OPSEC, operational security. Not just, hey, world, fuck off, we're leaving, and the Taliban rolling in, laughing, going on social media, doing these things. They're drawing and quartering people. They're doing these terrible things in the streets, and we're doing fuck all about it. Had we drawn down just a little bit at a time and continued, I think President Biden, if he wanted to be successful in Afghanistan with the drawdown, he could have been successful by literally doing nothing and letting the drawdown, trickle away, happen instead of just all of a sudden cutting ties like we did in Saigon. And he went on, and him and Psaki were saying, the spokeswoman saying, oh, it's not going to be anything like Vietnam. It's everything like Vietnam. There's people falling off the fucking airplanes because they were trying to escape.
And
on live, like you can see pictures of people falling from U.S. Air Force aircraft and trying to escape the country because they weren't on, and then there's U.S. expatriates and civilians, and never mind the Afghanistani people that we promised that we would help.
Translators.
Yeah, the translators and their families we promised would help, but we're just saying fuck you to them, and we're not letting them on. We're charging them money to come home, and the State Department saying that's not true, and then people are showing documents, and they're like, well, it is reasonable to expect reimbursement. It's such a clusterfuck, dude.
And the people who have the money there have to bribe their way through the Afghani checkpoints, and anybody who's been on in the military or gone on base or even hit a DUI checkpoint, just imagine that, except for times 1,000 with people with guns.
And will kill you.
They're just not letting people through.
Will just as soon kill you as let you through.
And
if they've gotten intel, right? To find out these people. You said they've been going door to door.
Yeah, they've been going door to door.
They have
the
Taliban.
NVGs.
Yeah.
They have drones.
Oh, because of the equipment we left behind.
And to me, sorry, I am a little emotional. So if you see my eyes, as my brother and sister, these are people I've served with, and but to me, the worst part about everything that's going on, and I know everybody wants to blame Biden, but it's the entire DC, his entire cabinet, and what has been advised, what has not been advised, and
the president doesn't operate in a vacuum.
I mean,
right?
Politically, we like to talk shit about each other, but this guy unanimously is by far the worst president, worst cabinet this country's ever had. And what they're doing with the media, with the help of the media, is they're turning what could be just excused as a simple fuck up, yeah, we shouldn't have done that, let's go get our people out, into now where they're turning the screw up into this enormous rescue and how it's going to be the biggest, and people are smiling, laughing about it, and like grand old time. Now it's even moved to victim blaming.
Yeah.
And our government, our media is pushing this issue of, hey, we gave them plenty of warnings to get out, they didn't, they're on their own.
Yeah, that's the narrative they're pushing now. What kind of horse shit is that?
Like,
there's no accountability here. It's just, and the media is by and large going along with it, and it's disgusting.
It is, because we have the technology, we have the manpower, we have volunteer manpower that at any point, if our elected officials were like, all right, we're going back in there, we're going to turn that place into a freaking parking lot, everybody would be on board.
Well, my brother Colin was saying, because I don't watch the news because it'll get my blood pressure high and I'll flip out. So I selectively watch BBC, CNN, and Fox to try to get a well-rounded perspective on things.
Which is important. I mean, off topic, that's what everybody should be doing.
To get a perspective. Yeah. And the British Special Air Service, the French,
God.
I forget even how to pronounce it.
Even the French.
The French Special Forces were going in and getting their people out. We did not send our Special Forces to get our people out and those, our allies in Afghanistan on the ground, out. And I'll leave that up to you to decide why not. Now, my brother's view is largely that it would be a bad optic. It would look bad if there was a shooting battle between... Who fucking cares? Get our people... Whatever happened to leave no man behind. And no man... All right, let's stop with the shit. No man, no woman, no person. Yeah. Leave no one behind, all right?
No American left behind. How about
or
that? Or
ally, okay? This is fucking... So, when did we switch roles with the French?
Seriously.
I mean...
The French lost the French Revolution War. Like, they seriously have not won a war in the entire existence, and yet they're outperforming us militaristically with this country.
Because they care about their citizens more? I mean, do they? It's what it appears to be, at least under this administration. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not talking about from our military's perspective. Every veteran I know, personally and professionally, is rearing to go and get our people out. I'm talking about the administration and the leadership, the political military leadership.
It's the people who are in D.C., who are whether
they're
they're
the
on
ones that are
vacation
saying,
or whatever.
well, it's too risky. It's a high-risk situation to get our people out. Where our actual military members who would be doing the work are saying, let's fucking go, get our boys and girls out of there.
I mean, in the history that I know of America and across the world, I don't think war has ever been talked about as an easy and peaceful way of doing things.
No.
You go to war because no other options are available, and when you have people who put not only their lives but their entire family's lives
and trust
at risk,
yeah,
to follow the mission that you're portraying for the last 20 years, there's audio and videos of translators not even asking to be taken out, begging our presidential cabinet to get their families out. They're not even being selfish in the fact of
get me out,
but get my kids out, get my wife out.
Because they're coming for me and them, and they're going
to take they're going to kill them all. This is what the Taliban and ISIS has been known to do.
And typically not in a nice way.
No. Oh,
they'd be lucky if they're shot.
And the perpetrator will be the last. He will most likely watch the raping and sexual abuse, along with selling of any daughters. Watch the sons be put into their Afghani army. And then
if they're lucky,
and then the wives will be raped and killed. There is no civility with these groups of people.
Now the Taliban was interviewed by CBS, I believe it was, about what they plan on doing with human rights, women's rights. Look, I don't fucking care what the Taliban, you don't negotiate with terrorists, you don't believe terrorists. It's like picking up a poisonous snake when you don't know what you're doing. It's going to bite you no matter how pretty it looks on the outside.
Well, and that's
if
what
you
they
pick
said.
up a coral snake, okay, it's going to fucking bite you, all right?
Do you want to take the chance?
Are you going to take the chance? You're going to negotiate with it?
Do you want to take the chance on whether or not it's poisonous?
Yeah.
But and they even specifically said they would do everything as long as it fell within what their religious and beliefs are.
And which
means they're saying to go fuck yourself.
They are Islamic extremists by a lot of accounts. A lot of people say they're Islamic extremists, like ISIS are Islamic extremists. I don't know if it's Islam in the extreme or just authentic Islam or what. I'm not a religious historian in that area, but whatever. So they're saying, yeah, we'll do what we can as long as it adheres to our interpretation of Islam. Well, they already have a track record of what's their interpretation of Islam. Women, children, no rights. Gays, nope. Good luck if you're gay. They'll throw you off a fucking building. It's just going to forget human. It. You're not even. Forget it.
And the whole other topic of oppression. Now we as Americans can actually see oppression happening live. So BLM and Antifa and all these other groups who want to talk about oppression, there it is. It's in your face. People literally being killed for nothing that they can even control.
But you go ahead and kneel when the national anthem is being played. Meanwhile, there are innocent people, men, women, and fucking children being slaughtered on video. You can find it. That's oppression. But you can kneel because a song insults you or because a flag insults you. Meanwhile, they are begging their hearts out to come here.
Nowhere else in the world. They want to come to the United States. And they're willing to pay whatever price is asked.
Even their own lives to get their families out.
This is... Sorry, this is a very intense thing for you and I. I mean, really me being a Marine, but we're both combat veterans where you've met Marines other than me that you've gone along with. We had a good friend who was a big part of our organization for a year who was a corpsman, and he told us serious stories about Vietnam. And this is not even close to a comparison of the things that were happening in Vietnam. There's so much worse because we genuinely know our important people, the people who completely control the military, know and are choosing the wrong decision.
I think what really makes it the icing on the cake of disgusting cake that this is that we as a nation could have done better and can do better and are collectively our politicians, the ones who make the decisions, excuse me, including our military politicians, and I say that term, military politicians, our upper brass, our brass in D.C., and upper brass at the Pentagon, whoever makes these decisions, are not making the proper decision for whatever political reason they want. It's shame on you. It's fucking, the blood of these men and women, the innocents, and the fucking Marines and the corpsmen and whoever else ends up dying because of this, is directly on your hands.
Oh, absolutely.
So I hope you sleep good at night, because their families, today, as they're finding out probably now or maybe tomorrow that their mom or their dad or their father, their husband's not coming home, it's directly your fault. Directly your fault. But you can hide behind your position. You can hide behind your rank. You can hide behind whatever you want.
Your vacations, your big birthday bashes, all these things. You know, I think the best thing at this point that could happen is for the United States, Americans, as the people, to come together the way we did with 9/11. I think that's the only thing that will wake our staff up, our head shed, the people who are making these wrong decisions and deliberately sacrificing our citizens and our allies.
And it is deliberate.
Oh,
How can it be anything other than deliberate when you have the power, the authority, the power, and the option to do better?
And
even if you tried to do better and it failed, like in the Iran hostage crisis, at least Reagan tried, and it fucked up. But the attempt was made, right? Or was it Carter? I'm not sure. But anyway, the attempt was made, and the Chinooks crash. It doesn't matter. They were trying. Y'all aren't even trying, and it's despicable, and it makes me ashamed. Okay, it's disgusting.
It's I think Reagan was the Hezbollah, and Greece. I think that was which was also a giant screw up, but
the attempt was made.
But the difference between all of that and what's going on now is two things: technology and the fact that we've been there for 20 years. So there's no this. Oh, we didn't know. Not only have we known, but we've been able to. Our people on the ground, the staff NCOs and the young officers who have been there, they have been warning up the chain of command. And the chain of command
if we leave just suddenly, this is what's going to happen. And it's well, we know, but it'll take some time. It's not going to happen so fast. It'll take some time. It'll take time so the Afghan people can rise up and fill in the positions that we leave, you see. So there's bullshit. All right? Bullshit. You think that our intelligence community is that stupid? Some of you may not. But I'm willing to bet that some intelligence officer or some analyst said, this is a bad idea. Don't affect the change. Don't execute the order like this. All right, draw down gently or quietly or something. Don't just come out there and say, hey, we're leaving by this date sharp. And somebody said that this is a bad idea, and then somebody somewhere said, you know what, you might be right, but it's not good for me politically to bring that forward, so I'm just going to either obfuscate that fact or say, well, it's up to you. Because look, the president doesn't act in a vacuum. It's not Joe Biden's fault specifically. It's the Biden administration, including the current Department of Defense. I'm sorry.
Department of Defense, Department of Transportation, FBI, CIA, all of these groups, Harris, Pelosi, all these people that have been promoting this thing for the last 6 months of how, we're going to get people. You don't think that they knew we had a goal set for September 11th to get? Of course they knew.
Well, how do we know they know? Well, one thing I know is
they're reporting this stuff live.
They have a Twitter account, while an ex-president of the United States of America is not allowed a Twitter account. Just think about that for a second. Just chew on that. A terrorist group that's murdering people on the streets and has no human rights at all is allowed a Twitter account and can share this disgusting stuff. And a former president of the United States of America is not allowed a Twitter account, no matter what your political affiliation is.
there's something wrong there.
It boggles my brain. It boggles my brain.
It-
Whether you like Trump or not, whether you voted for Trump or not, it's not the issue right now. It's just, how is that even a thing?
You know, was
Block the fucking Taliban from being able to promote this shit.
You know what really it bothers me too, and I get it as a veteran. I signed the papers. I went there to do my job as you did. We try and keep things light. We try and keep things very informative. This one is definitely emotionally charged, but for good reasons. We both have personal things that are going on right now. You know, your son just coming out of all his training for basic for the Air Force.
Yep.
Is we have to help get him all loaded up and move to his air base where he's finding out people are deploying already.
Tomorrow.
I'm finding out medical conditions about my wife that she's completely stressed out over.
You found that out today?
You know, and we don't do these last minute podcasts ever. Like,
this is the first time.
Everything is like,
I think this is the first time ever.
and typically, even with militaristic things happening around the world, we don't let it affect us like this because we understand the job, right? I mean, we lived the job, but knowing the way that the stories have been changing and the narrative and this blaming of a past president and then blaming Bush for getting us in there and all that stuff, we should be looking at ourselves as our head political party, commander-in-chief. He is the guy. And we as Americans should be looking at ourselves and what can we do? Why are we not physically, but why are we not attacking this group of people who are making these decisions that are killing people?
For example, why isn't Twitter shutting down their Twitter account? Why aren't people clamoring for Twitter to shut the Taliban's account down? Just as a small thing.
And
Twitter should be on fire right now saying, shut their account down.
And I guarantee you will probably be flagged for this video like we were with the other one about
frankly, we don't know how long this video will be up for. Maybe you'll see it, maybe you won't.
But, you know, I really hope that we get some feedback, agreements, you know, disagree, whatever it is, because we're just two guys who signed up. We did our time. We got out for different reasons. We know what it's like to deal with the big green weenie as it is, you know, the Army as a whole or the Marines as a whole. But what's happening there when we're told that airfield is completely secured and now we have 11 casualties?
And 12 because of the corpsmen.
Yeah. So
really,
it's just unfortunate.
It's disgusting. And it doesn't matter if the airfield's secure, because what about the people trying to get to the airfield? They're screwed. This whole thing is a mess, and the media is frankly complicit in helping this stay obfuscated and being a mess. The media should be right on this administration's ass going, why did you make such a mess out of this?
Instead, what's happening? We're being beat up about vaccines and boosters, masks,
and victim blaming.
Things that should be an individual choice, but this right here is this. We, as the average American, have so little to do with what is happening there, other than trying to come together and pressure our, you know, headshed to either resign, get the fuck out of there, or do the right thing. I mean,
frankly,
we the people. That's what it's supposed to be.
It's what it's supposed to be, and it should be.
So we really need to come together on this, whether you agree with this president being there or disagree with this president being there.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter.
Be about that.
Your political affiliation means fuck all in this situation. The situation is all about how this whole clusterfuckistan situation is being handled, and it's not being handled properly at all. And now people are dying. Our people and the people who trusted our government are being killed. And it's not the first time. America has a bad reputation for fucking over its allies. And I'm scared it's going to happen more and more.
But, you know, we pull all these people out, now we're sending people back in. And not only that, but we had a relatively controlled environment. Now we're sending new troops.
It's like a hot LZ, basically.
Yeah, to an uncontrolled environment. And clearly it took our first hit today. I mean, this is...
So, I mean, I say... as a devout Christian, as a devout Catholic, I pray for the men and women who are being killed, especially our service members. I pray for their families, and I pray for the future. And I invite everybody who does pray to pray. And if you don't, send good vibes, send good thoughts, do whatever. Reach out to the veterans that you know, especially the veterans of OEF, Operation Enduring Freedom, the Afghanistan veterans.
Oh, please, yes.
Reach out to them. Like, all veterans are probably affected by this, but the OEF veterans, the Afghanistani veterans, reach out to them and ask them how they're doing. And also your Marine veterans, your veteran friends who are Marines. Make sure they're doing okay, because this, it trickles down, right, from a broader veteran issue to an Afghanistani issue to a Marine issue. It funnels down. So just check on these people and make sure they're okay. Send them a Facebook message, send them a text message, give them a call if you're into calling. And just say, hey, just want to make sure you're okay. If you need to talk about anything, let's talk about something, because when you're out of the military, or even if you're in the military to some extent, a sense of helplessness washes over you because you can't do anything.
We self-isolate as soldiers and veterans. We have a tendency to isolate ourselves. So it is, a lot of people won't make the first step as a combat veteran or a current active duty service member. So please, do check up on them. And I'm hoping that Eric and I can actually put up to our board, as it is part of our mission, to see if we can vote on trying to contact the command of this group of Marines and seeing if there's anything we can do. Because it's not my money, it's not Eric's money. We have to go through our board of directors. So hopefully we'll be able to
at least send something for their family members or whatever.
And as we know stuff, I would like for us to be able to update, unit so-and-so, and if people would like to contact them through us, we can try and figure those things out as well. I think that's as close to the best that we can do, other than taking our broke asses with our,
get on an airplane.
Weapons that we have,
look,
although we do present quite large targets, so
if I could be a meat shield, I'd just stand there and everybody hides behind me.
And there's that dark sense of humor for veterans, right?
You got to do what you got to do, and look, just do the best you can, and for our brothers and sisters who are in harm's way, chin up, guys. And for those who are about to go in harm's way, what's the saying you guys have? SFMF? If you don't know, then you don't know.
You don't know, you shouldn't know, right?
And I just happen to know. All right. This is a very dynamic situation, and again, to repeat, reach out to the veterans you know and just ask them if they're doing okay.
Hopefully updates will be less emotionally charged. I know we hate doing things last minute, but I just felt this is one thing we probably should not hold on to.